spider comes alive when we march past by. Oh, why, oh, they still die, they still die, they still die. They still die, they still die, they still die. They still die, they still die, they still die. Raise up and still alive. We must organize. Justice for black lives. They don't stop, so we don't stop. Keep showing up. Black lives matter.
There it is, everybody. Welcome, Sunday, March 7th. Sunday, March 7th, 2021. That was my friend Sean and I at the Sanctuary Arcada's J Street Radio Hour. We are there every other Thursday. We were there this past Thursday. Not this coming Thursday, but Thursday after that. Pretty sure we'll be there. A lot of other good stuff happening at the Sanctuary Arcada this week, but in town as well and online because of the way the world has led it to be. So one of the things that's happening this week here locally in Humboldt County is Canvas and Clay in Eureka. They are not strangers to the show. We've shared content from some of the artists out there in the past. And well, they have a pretty cool event, virtual event coming up. It's called Moving Pictures. It's a virtual fundraiser. It's screening of compilations and multiple films by the artists there at the Canvas and Clay Gallery. We got kind of a preview for that, and I'll tell you a little bit more about that in just a moment. So check out this cool video and have fun with us. We'll be back.
Slam, bam, get out our town. This is our town. You feeling? Get out our town. Bam, slam, get out our town. This is not your town. I'm a superhero, saving the world, work for me. How's that?
Awesome. I definitely needed that. I needed to see my superheroes boost me up. One of the things I did earlier today, I was out in Fortuna with Centro del Pueblo, and we were out there helping out the families, the indigenous folks, and the immigrant people of the South here. We were out giving out some food boxes, some blankets, some sanitation stuff for some of the families out here still don't have what they need. And I'm sure that you, wherever you are, can help organize to make sure that people around you can get what they need, because that's where the power is. The power is the people, and you're the people, and the people is you. So don't forget, if your neighbors are having a hard time, it could come down on you in some sort of way. So, let's try and make sure that we're helping each other out, supporting each other. So tune in on Saturday the 13th with Canvas and Clay. It's at 8 p.m. online, so you don't have to leave your house if you don't want to. You could be outside on your laptop if you want. But yeah, you could tune in online and donate something to help them keep going, because as you saw from that small preview, they do some really awesome stuff. And like I said, we've shared some of their stuff here in the past, and I'm really excited to see what else they have to share with us. So yeah, check it out. The 13th at 8 p.m. online, Canvas and Clay. Right on. One of the people who was out there with me today was Laura Munoz, a superhero in her own ways, and definitely someone who uses her creative intelligence and beautiful power to lift people up around her, as well as sharing some of that grace with us. One of the things she will be doing tomorrow morning, sunrise, that's right, at the morning, is the sunrise walk to kick off the Zero to Fierce event that's happening here in Arcata. The sanctuary is going to have folks, so tune in. The Playhouse has people showing up. So look them up, Zero to Fierce event, right? It's pretty cool. We got a little video here coming up with some stuff, so check it out. I'll let you know a little bit more. Or we can talk about something different.
Hey everybody, Monday is International Women's Day and the start of the O2F Festival, so I wanted to let you know that. ZeroToFierce.org, you can register for 55 events over 7 days. So when you register, you will get a link sent to you, and that link is good for your access. You have an all access pass to everything from Monday through Sunday the 14th. There's so much going on. There's a movie from Emmy Award winning director from Los Angeles. There's new movies that are happening. The Lunchbox series, you can buy a lunch Tuesday through Friday. You can still order them. There's still time for those days. You can see a very Ray variety show using all our spanky new sound and video equipment for live streaming. You can join me and Allison Russell from Birds of Chicago and Our Native Daughters on Saturday night. I'll be on the Playhouse stage. She'll be in Nashville, and we're going to have a conversation. She's going to sing. We're going to open it up for people for question and answers. It's going to be an awesome festival, and it'll all round out with the Sarabias, and we'll make some food together and eat it in our respective homes. So go to zerotofierce.org, check it out. There are some amazing things happening. Thank you to everybody, and I look forward to seeing you at the Playhouse.
There's the information from Jackie herself. We've worked here at Outer Space closely with Jackie, and Jackie is cool to work with. So if you can get a hand in doing something creative with Jackie, go for it. Definitely somebody will make sure it happens. Another Jax we have coming up. Here's some information. Tomorrow also Jackalope Jill, you might know her better, will be performing on the J Street Radio Hour for the Zero to Fierce kind of portion of the show. So here comes our good friend Jax.
I am leaving Mississippi in the evening rain. These dark towns were setting down in the hiding brain. Readily guides my hand through the radio. Where would I be standing like me without the song forever?
like good old boy on a band of gold on the stereo. Hey, and my mama's gonna cross it where she's gone to say down the road with the radio. And fast friends still got the radio. And fast friends still got the radio. The radio. Oh, listen to the radio. Radio. Oh, listen to the radio. It's the radio. The radio. It's down the road to go. Nancy Griffith.
You can get more of that tomorrow at the Sanctuary's feed for the Zero to Fierce event. Jax has got some more music coming up. Up next is the part I'm really excited about. I haven't given y'all too much of a sneak peek about it or anything, but some of you may know that we put together Outer Space Arcade did. Taylor, our kind of like art head, and we put a BIPOC show together in Old Town, and it's at the Studio 424. And well, I am pretty blown away by how it came together. I'm really stoked, and I'm really excited to share it with you. But first, we have one of the artists, Sabina, is going to share kind of her voice with us about this show. So we're going to let that happen, and then got a treat coming up. So stick with us. Yeah, it's in Eureka, so watch it. Check out. This is Sabina. You might recognize her voice because she's on the radio sometimes.
My name is Sabina. I also go by Pizza Moon Prince online. And a big thank you to Outer Space for curating a space for the BIPOC community here in this county. It's the first time I felt really comfortable and safe submitting my work, so thank you for that. I do a lot of illustration, but I focus mainly on digital artwork, and the 3 pieces I've submitted for this show are collectively called The Travelers. The Travelers came about at a time when my coping mechanisms for 2020 had started to fall through. I realized I hadn't created anything in a few months. I was starting to feel very overwhelmed to the point of, do I quit my job? What do I continue to live here? And I started withdrawing myself from people. I was like, I have no outlet. I'm not tapping into my outlet. So as like I don't know if some people do this, but as like some people may, that I sat down and gave myself a pep talk, and it did not work. It was really brutal, actually, if you can be brutal to yourself in a pep talk. And I actually told myself, oh, you talk too much. And in a ragey moment, I took a picture of my mouth and forced myself to sit down for hours trying to build something out of this random image. And that was a lot of warping, a lot of shape moving, a lot of playing with light and colors. And I got a foundation that I could work off of. And the Travelers were just born out of randomness. And the Travelers do mean a lot to me because usually my artwork is more grounded in creating worlds and scenery. I used to escape in my head a lot due to trauma and PTSD, and I will try to materialize these places that I like to see in my head and put them out in front of me. It's just a sort of comfort. And the Travelers being these beings just floating in space, not anchored to anything, gave me a comfort in that I realized I needed to stop anchoring myself. I needed to stop anchoring myself to expectations. I need to stop anchoring myself and establish boundaries. I need to be able to flow. And whether that be between places or between emotions, I needed to be able to do that. I needed to be able to travel. So the Travelers were born out of stress, and the result was joy. Joy and exploration. So I hope you enjoy them. Again, thank you to Outer Space for creating this opportunity for all of us. And Have a great day. Thank you.
That's part of what we're trying to do here on this show every week. And anytime I do believe that any of our outer space volunteers, coordinators put something together, I think that we really are trying to get, get to that kind of place with people and let them know that this is a place where they can come and share and be honest about the truth that they face, that they live. So, and open that up to the rest of us so that other people could see and we connect in that way. And I think art's super powerful and hits really deep in that kind of way, right? We got this art back here, friends made. It's dope. Sometimes it's just as simple as putting words together. Like that's what I feel like I do sometimes when I sing. But sometimes I make videos. And this video is of the show from the Studio 424 Gallery. The show is called All Colors Are Beautiful. That's the name of the show. One of the artists, Saul Pedroza, is who came up with it. And I'm glad he did because it's a good name. And I had a lot of fun making this video. I had spent some time in the gallery before we locked the doors because, you have to watch it from the outside. I'm sorry, y'all, it's COVID times. But we're just doing it to be safe and practical. So I threw some music together. I threw some audios kind of to fill in the sound because there's so much wonderful energy in the gallery. So I think we could share that video next and take this tour with us. Yeah.
And now to recognize it was here. Please remember this, where my secret lies. I'm not here and helping you to back on the side. But when I'm 37, they think I've found a line. I say, into the reach of my arm, the span of my hips, astride my step, the curl in my lips. I am a woman, phenomenal woman, that's me. I want to see you completely. And to the men, the fellow stand, is called down to their knees. And this thing around me, I hide behind them. I say, it's the fire in my eyes, and the flash in my teeth, and seeing the wind, and the joy in my feet. I am a woman, phenomenal woman, that's me. My kind of feeling, they feeling different. I say, it's the ice in my back, the sound of my smile, the side of my, the rise in my back, the grace of my style. I am a woman, phenomenal woman, that's me. Now you understand why my head is not bad. I don't sound or it doesn't sound perhaps authorized. When my head is happy, it ought to make me proud. Yes, listen to that one. When you see me dancing, it ought to make you proud. The brown hair, the I'm in the process, I realized that looking at my family, how come nothing goes in this system? How come there's no black owned businesses in this area that has smelt the smoke after being here for several generations as one of the first black owned black families in this area? How come
I hope you liked it. That was kind of my trip through the gallery there. I tried making it like a walkthrough for everybody. I hope you had a good time. I'm gonna make sure that we share that video on its own eventually so you can get your own little walk through the gallery. But if you find yourself in Old Town Eureka, go check it out. Have your own experience. It's a beautiful thing. It really is. I think we might have Taylor on here with us tonight. If Taylor's willing to join us, we can have her join and say a little bit something about the show. Hey Taylor, how you doing? Taylor is the co-curator. I feel like the blood and guts behind this, because Taylor has been running a lot of the Phantom galleries that you might have been seeing around towns like Arcata and Eureka. Do you want to say a little bit about something that, Taylor?
Yeah. Hi. I have been curating the art at Outer Space for like 2 years. And then when we lost our space, I had just gotten a grant to keep curating shows, so I needed to figure out a way to use it. So I went to this like meeting that the ink people had that was kind of, I don't know how to describe it, but it was kind of like a think tank for like a bunch of local art people to talk about what they were noticing and thinking about. And I ended up talking to them about how they had done these things in like the early 2000s called phantom galleries or like the mid 2000s when the recession happened. And it ended up being really helpful for getting stores rented out. And then I went to another kind of think tank for that the ink people threw. And I think it was like really centered around BIPOC voices. And one group left and came back and said that they thought that there should be an art show of just BIPOC artists in an empty store. And I was like, oh, I'm like already doing that. I should definitely do that. So then I just put out a call for artists and we got a bunch of really awesome submissions. Yeah, it's been a cool year. It's hard to know if people have seen the show and what they think of it, because I'm not like witnessing people come into the gallery like you do at Outer Space. Though there have been times that I have like been behind the window and heard people walking by say stuff, and that's always really funny.
I've already taken 2 people right by that building and been like, oh, check it out. There's this art show right here you should look at.
Yeah, I have too. And then like sometimes I'll just like when I go in to just get something done, when I leave, I'll see people walking by and they stop and they look, and that feels really good to see that happen.
Right on. And thanks for being there at that meeting and hearing that. And thanks for showing up as you always do. Like I said, there's other Phantom galleries that people have been able to see. A few months ago, we shared the domestic violence awareness show. And, you had your interview there. That was months ago. I mean, it feels like it just happened yesterday. But,
I know. Yeah, it's been a really great experience. I feel like the level of patience that I've learned through doing this, and like the way that I've learned how to like relate to people and to be like more patient with myself through this process, has been really awesome. And there's just like not art museums really in Humboldt County besides the Morris Graves. And so sometimes it feels like a place where there's not any art. And then, if you just organize shows and organize artists, then there's lots of art. I think artists just need like a platform to show their work. I really loved Sabina's video, and I loved what Sabina said about, that was just really cool to hear that they said that this was like the first time they felt safe submitting art to a show. And like just hearing them talk about those pieces, I was not like expecting that was the backstory for those pieces. So it would be really cool and interesting to hear any and all artists talk about their work at like a later juncture if they can, because we couldn't have an opening where like we could meet everyone. And I don't know that we'll ever be able to. But like just hearing that one artist talk about their work was very rewarding. That's those pieces are a really special part of the show too. I think they look really like futuristic and modern, and they're just really sleek.
Well, that's one of my favorite things about this show in general. There's so many different styles, not even styles, mediums, and I mean, like that's one way to show your art. And we have videos, we have a tapestry. I mean, we have ceramics, we have all sorts of things. And
We
one
have a
of the
sweater
artists,
about marketing. That's like, I don't even know what
and
kind of media
that's
you would call that. It's like a sculptural piece.
and I believe that the artist is here with us. If they want to join, we can have them say a little bit about their piece. That's Sebastian.
Hello.
Hi, how you doing?
Doing well. How you guys doing tonight?
Great, thank you. Thanks for joining us today. I don't know if you got to catch the whole video, but your pieces are in there, and I'm really excited to have them.
Yeah, that's really cool. I heard you guys talking about what medium that piece was, and I think for me it really comes from a background of like conceptual art and kind of taking from references and just reapplying those references.
Yeah, okay, that clarifies it a lot for me. I don't know why I hadn't thought that maybe that was the category it was in, but that's actually particularly exciting too, because I don't get to see a lot of conceptual art in Humboldt County.
Yeah, it's really been a lot of sourcing references from the internet, which is another part of kind of the thought process of this. Is I designed it all on my laptop, and so it's kind of like this really non-feasible way for me to make art. And yeah, it goes deep to where like I can call this piece of art mine, but I only really touched it right before it went into the gallery, and I outsourced to people who made it, and I outsourced the hoodies. And so it was a really like collaborative process, and I think that is another part of it's kind of making these references feasible, as well.
I'm really loving hearing you talk about this. What are you referencing that you're referencing now?
So, like, quite literally on the back, I reference this art piece by Joseph Kasuth, and he's a conceptual artist, and he basically had like you can see, 5 words in white neon, an actual neon up in a gallery, and that just really intrigued me. And
Ooh.
so I kind of took that and replaced it, gave all credit to him, and put his quote on the back to kind of put that in perspective and also put it in context, right? There's the date, circa 1965, and so it kind of shows you where maybe we're at a little bit in the art movements, and placing that on the back of a sweatshirt is kind of like, for me, the sweatshirt is the language of the youth right now, and the youth that I'm a part of especially. So it's like, I could have put it on a canvas, I could have put it in words, I could have done a lot of different ways, but for me, putting it on the sweatshirt is a way to put it into context for my generation. I'm young, I'm 19 years old, so that was kind of put it under the guise of branding, and even more specifically, Instagram branding, so.
Well, what's interesting about that is I feel like people walk around with a lot of, like the names of things on their clothing and are really separated from that,
Yeah.
It's one of those things that, when somebody kind of creates a thing, it's an interesting concept just to be like, who's going to have this on? What's this even for? And your piece is one of my favorites because while we do have a variety of different things in the show, I haven't really seen a lot of like, intentional art on a hoodie. One of the things that my generation also too coveted as like a symbol of identity and expression.
Right.
So, it's like we're not that far apart, Seb, really, but
Definitely. And that's the thing, is that's where it's for me. This is art too, like I think I have that kind of connection with this. Whereas like when I wear it, like I feel it too, because it's like you're saying, it's not distant. It's a part of a lineage of, your generation is also feeling this as a form of expression, and a little bit more from the generation before you. So it really is like, and there's a whole wave now of people who will buy a really like nice piece of clothing and they'll wear it, and then they'll get home and hang it up, and they'll just like kind of stare at it, and they'll, be in awe, because it's really like this is an art of its own. And
I wonder why like wearing art on your person has become such a like integral part of like millennials and Gen Z. Like, is it because we just have so little public domain that like we have to use our person? And then I also think that like the piece that that you showed on the sweater is like really self-referential. But then I think that like using a black hoodie to talk about like your generation in general is like more of a broad scope of reference. You're kind of like making a generalization about like a larger group of people. Are you feeling like the sweatshirt is self-referential too, or just like media and branding is kind of self-referential?
I think, yeah, it's all kind of, that's a really good point that I think I really just felt, for me, it's more of like, from the ideas and the people and the inspirations that I have, like that's something that like a black, and if you see it in person, it's kind of like a black faded hoodie, And so I really like, that's something I resonate with, and I just wanted to make that and see that in person, And I think, yeah, 100% it is self-referential. And if you look at the front as well, it's kind of, it all plays on that basic self-reference of like, think about this as beyond just a hoodie, what does it represent? What bigger context is it a part of?
One thing that has disrupted a lot of people's lives, and I think hopefully for the better, is the story of Trayvon Martin. A young black man had a hoodie on and was profiled, really. I mean, right? There's not a lot. I really don't know what else to say besides that. And because of that, he's no longer living. His presence is still here with us, and a lot of us. I know that definitely me when I think about it. I have a son who's going to be 11 years old, and I think about what that means for somebody to be walking around and just kind of like, having their culture on their body, right? Because as another artist in the show with you, right? That's one thing that I realized was like, this is our culture in a format that people can kind of sort of consume in a sort of way, and it's a strange feeling, but that's one of the things that really kind of struck me about your piece. And I don't know if that's where you're going, but I think that it's really telling to feel just the reality of people's lives and how sometimes it can kind of, fall in these places that lead to these stories of life.
Yeah, and rest in peace to Trayvon Martin on that note, and very tragic. And I think that's a very good statement that you're saying about how this is our culture, And for an answer to your question a little bit earlier about why this is the kind of what we are choosing as our kind of way of self-expression as a hoodie is, I think being colored in specific, there's kind of like this general dehumanization that happens, and through media and through different systems and institutions. And so things like wearing a hoodie and wearing your favorite brand or your favorite ideas on it is kind of one of the only ways that we can be ourselves, putting that hood up when you want to. It's kind of it's a protection and an expression at the same time. And so I think that's very poignant that you talk about Trayvon Martin as well, because that was kind of impactful and very impactful in my life, and that really, like, I think puts it in perspective of kind of where I come from with choosing the hoodie, and that was more of like a subconscious choice of mine of style. Like, this is a classic, you know what I'm saying? This is a staple in our culture. And so that's what I wanted to, really bring out. So yeah, I think it does. And it does come from that as well, with me trying to use conceptual art to express myself, because conceptual art is, I think, historically a good representation of the Black experience, and trying to integrate ideas and put them into different contexts.
Yeah, I think some of the best pieces of conceptual art take the risk of not being misunderstood, and that's, I think, the strong thing about this piece is that it does take a risk of being misunderstood. I think that, like, hearing you talk about it has, like, given me a lot of context to understand the piece better. And there's so many elements of it that, like, circle back to itself, like, in a really clean, tight way conceptually. And that's kind of when conceptual art, like, really gets you. So thanks so much for talking and joining our video, Seb.
Yeah, I appreciate you guys having me, and having me in the gallery as well.
Yeah.
Right on. Thank you so much, Seb. You want to let the people know any other final thoughts you got, where they can find you?
On Instagram, I'm at faux.tm, FAUX.tm, and that is the account that I'm making the art for. And yeah, appreciate you guys again. Thanks for having me.
Right on. Thank you, Seb. Thank you, Taylor. Up next, I think we have another artist, if they're here with us ready, that I think is another artist that kind of takes on the concept of art in general, right? Spider right there. You want to say what's up to the people?
Yo, what's up? OG Spider Loke, J Best Crew, Just Won't Stop Gang. What's good?
Can't stop, won't stop, right? Saul.
They don't stop, so we don't stop. I'm burning out. You guys are freezing up.
I can hear you.
Okay.
How's it going, Spider?
Sometimes here.
I'm just chilling, man. Just got out of work, man. You gotta put in work if you want to live a good life and whatnot. If you wanna, I don't know. I don't want to say it. You wanna. No, I'm not gonna say it. It's too controversial.
Well, you do have a mask on and sunglasses, so I think you're probably pretty safe.
I was gonna say, if you want to live like a Mexican, you gotta work like a Mexican, dog. You heard?
I know, and that's an interesting thing you say so, because as a Mexican myself, I have just the identity of it that was bestowed upon me, but I have only my experience as to what that is, and I keep my hustle going because I think it's necessary to make it so that other people make it.
Yeah, I feel that.
So we showed a video earlier on, and it has your pieces in there. Is there anything you want to say about your pieces?
Oh, let me see. Yeah, man. I come home. I go home every day, and I start drawing something. I'm always working on something. I put my studio right next to my bed, because either I'm out doing something, or I'm sleeping, or I'm working on something. I'm cooking something in my kitchen all the time. Something's always on the burner, and sometimes I fill up all the burners. And right now I've been looking at my new canvas. I have it right here. It's on the bottom of my camera.
Well, I'll tell you one thing. It's good to be cooking, because that means you're being eaten, and hopefully you're sharing that with other folks. So I'm excited to see what you put down on that.
Yeah, I come home for like 3 straight days already. I just come home and I sit and I stare at it for 3 straight days already. I haven't
That
even
Is
touched
that
it.
the canvas.
Yeah, it's
Is
nuts.
anything like starting to come up?
Well, I have hella ideas for it, but like nothing solid, you know? It's just
Mm.
it's just breaking my brain every day. It's like haunting me or taunting me, to be honest. It's just
I
like,
think I think a lot of cities have like really cool designs for their like transit systems. Like the Muni design is really cool in San
oh
Francisco.
yeah.
It's like that like swivelly MUNI.
Yeah,
And then I
that's
can't
pretty
remember
cool.
what LA's looked like, but ours is not, it's just not that inspiring.
Maybe they should
I,
call you Spider to get that unlocked.
huh?
Maybe they should call on you to make that the
Ah.
transit system out here
I
a
think it
little
looks
more
pretty cool already,
recognizable. You
man. I
know,
don't want to mess it up. You know, someone gave it to me for Christmas.
I
I'm really
respect
getting
that.
to it right now.
I respect that. I think as someone who creates things, I think that it's a very real thing to recognize someone else's work and say that that's something that you know that's real stuff. And I like that you like it because that means something about an artist's respect for another. So,
Yeah, I don't know. I think I'm just a real big fan of street signs.
Mm-hmm.
well,
They're hella
that's where I
important.
find
They're
myself.
like, and they're just like everywhere. It's like a tag. It's copied everywhere. You know, road closed or like dead end or like no parking or something.
Mm-hmm.
It's like those guys are killing the city. Those guys are everywhere.
Right? Yeah. I mean, that's true.
Yeah, it's like part of the visual language of a place. I think when you travel to different towns too, sometimes like the text on signs will be a different font, the color scheme will be different. That kind of stuff does define an area.
Yeah, totally. I mean, I went to Mexico one time and I saw a green stop sign, and like that was a long time ago, and I still think about that every so often. Like why? I was like that's like the complete opposite color of what you want people to do.
That's very
And you know
confusing.
one of the things that Sabina had said in her video right before we showed the gallery space was how she talked about how not being able to feel like you can show your art as a person of color sometimes, right? And I think that that's the thing that hits is a lot of the times people have this idea over here of what an expression of art is, but that's not everyone's, right? That's just like a narrated structure of it, and then we have real life experiences of things that don't always match, right? Like a green colored stop sign.
Yeah, I mean, like, uh, I, for- you always say like there's no such thing as any bad art, you know. Like if you're doing something, then you're in the right direction, you know. I think what like popular culture or what what people accept as being good or being bad, I think it's like completely skewed towards like I don't know, either like um boring stuff or stuff that's like very technical, you know?
Stuff that's considered good most of the time.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like what like what average Joe would say good is, you know? It's like there's so much depth to all the types of art in the world, and people are so limited or kind of like they're forced to be narrow-minded because what we go when we go to a gallery and we see certain things, we see like, I'm not saying that all the stuff in there is bad or whatever. I'm just saying that there's more to it than just like the the MFA, the Master of Fine Art, freaking couple swirls on a canvas or like a fully detailed landscape or something, you know? There's also there's I think like what makes art good is um how you felt doing it and the raw expression that you expressed making it.
I gotta say, I agree with you, Spider. I think that art is another just expression of life, right? And
Yeah.
not everyone's life looks the same. So I think that it is helpful for us to see other people's expression of life in different ways because, yeah, sometimes it does feel like we are meant to kind of like very narrow, kind of aspects of what it is to be a person, and some of that doesn't fit in with me.
Yeah.
I think those are really insightful points. I'm really glad that you guys brought those up. I do think that there's one more artist that wants to talk before our time is up in 3 minutes.
That sounds. Let's do that. Any final thoughts you want to give the people, Spider?
Yeah. Fucking follow me on Instagram, Spiderman. SPEDR_MAYN. I got really cool shit cooking up right now, and
Always.
yeah, and it's gonna fucking. Don't wear any socks, cause it's just gonna fucking knock them off. You heard?
Yeah.
Right on. Thank you,
Hey, I love you
Spider.
guys.
Thank you,
Te
Spider.
cuidas,
Love
okay?
you too,
Mwah.
homie.
Take care.
Thank you for wearing your mask. This is a situation where we don't have to have it, and we do have one more artist that can join us tonight. Hi, Corey. How you doing?
Hey
Corey.
guys, how's it going?
Good. Thanks. How about you?
I'm
Thanks
doing
so much
pretty
for
good.
coming.
Yeah, I didn't think I was gonna make it, and I got the text literally on my way home. I was like, oh, I should try to join if I can. So here I am.
Yeah, any opportunity to hear you talk about your work. I've seen your work around. I've seen it on the Art on the Fence exhibit that the Playhouse did. Is that right?
Yeah. Yeah, that was my piece. The piece
And
that
it
kind
does
of
not
looked
seem like that was your first walk around the block. It seems like you've been around for a while.
I've been making art for a very long time, but I haven't really displayed. It took me a long time to want to display publicly. My art comes from a really personal place, and so it's kind of hard for me to put myself out there. But I want to, I want to share it, but it is difficult. But I've been making art for literally 20 some odd years. So, and it's not my first time displaying, but it's been a long time since I've displayed.
Okay. Yeah. So I'm familiar with the work that's of women, and then there's this piece that's of 3 African masks, and that's a little outside of what I've seen from you before. I'm curious about that piece.
Yeah, that is very different actually from what I normally do. Most of my art usually is either of Black women, or I do a lot of alien-esque landscapes. But last Juneteenth, we were super quarantined, and so I didn't have anything to do but paint. And my family used to own an African art store in Arcata. So my house is currently covered in masks. I have all these African masks that are very beautiful, and I love looking at them. And so I thought, let's try something different and paint an image of a mask. This particular image is supposed to represent me and my 2 brothers that I grew up with. And that's why there's slightly different colors, because we're all different shades of brown. One of my siblings is a twin, but you never know it if you saw us walking down the street. So, and that piece is about us. It actually is kind of also inspired from this African sculpture. We got my mom's children, and it's 3 hands locked into each other. And so, yeah, I like the way it came out.
Is it okay for me to ask you, how come it is that makes that? What is it that makes it difficult for you to share your art sometimes? Is it because it's so personal, or is it because of the platform of where it is?
Mostly because it's super personal, not the images that I'm painting themselves, but just the inspiration behind them. It's very therapeutic, and I usually draw out of times of sadness or stress. And so for that same reason, I kind of hoard my artwork too. I'm very, very not against, but it's very hard for me to give away a piece. I don't sell too many pieces for that reason. I just like to kind of keep it because I have them for therapeutic reasons. And so, yeah.
I think it's interesting you say that because the youngest artist in the show is 11 years old, and
Wow.
he's the artist that is like got the 5 pieces with the yin yang in the middle. You know, if you watch the video, you'll see. If you walk by the gallery, you'll see. And
Mhm.
one of the things he said too is that the reason he does it is because it helps him with his experience of what he's feeling. And I think it's pretty awesome that he was interested in sharing his art at such a young age. But you know, you
Yeah.
said you've been doing art for about 20 years. What's that whole process been like for you?
You know, it's just something that I've always really loved to do. It's something that's always made me really happy when I'm sad or just, I don't know, just from a young age, that's just what I wanted to do. From like one of my earliest memories is just wanting to make art and do art. And I've always done it. And I know I wouldn't have been brave enough at 11 to show anything, I don't think. I don't know if I would have had the confidence to do so. I think I was about 18 the first time I displayed publicly, and that was at a gallery in Denver um, for this AP program I was a part of. And it wasn't like, I feel like it might have been easier then because what I was displaying was an art assignment from class and not like something that I did at home. So
Yeah,
it
the
gets
process
easier.
for making it was less personal.
Yeah, way less personal. It was for they took kids from my school, which was like in the super inner city, and they drove us out to super, super fancy private art school, and they had this art workshop, and we all basically had to do the same exercises, and then they displayed everyone's version of that exercise in the gallery.
Did you go to school in a different city?
Yeah, I grew up in Denver. I'm not from California.
Oh,
I've
okay.
lived here about 10 years now, though. And so Humboldt very much is home. My family used to have an art store here.
Yeah,
And
that's
so,
why I thought you grew up here. Okay, cool.
no, my dad moved here when I was in high school. And so I used to come in high school and visit a lot. And then when I was of age, I moved here. And then I traveled around a little bit. And I've been back from consistently for like the last 6 years. But I first moved out here at like 19. So 10 years ago. Or
Mhm.
11, about 11 years ago.
Right. I mean, thank you so much, Corey. I didn't know that that you sharing your art is such a kind of a rare occurrence because when we were in the gallery, Taylor and I putting these pieces up, I was like, oh, I'm really, really excited that people are going to be able to see these, you know? So I think that I'm glad that I'm super thankful and grateful that you did this time because I did encourage the 11-year-old quite a bit to be like, people need to see that you are creating, and it's important for people to know that because there's going to be another 11-year-old somewhere who's like kind of, you know, reserved about expressing themselves in a way that other people might notice. And I think that that's totally fine. I've written plenty of songs that no one else but I have heard. So, I mean, if I could ask for maybe some sort of advice from you about what it is that keeps you making art, what it is that led you to this point to be able to share it, just something that you would tell someone that you believe in as well, you know, just to be like, what would you, if that was yourself, what would you say? What would you kind of,
You know, I don't know. I would just say believe in yourself and don't worry about what people are going to think because it doesn't really matter. Opinions are like assholes. Everyone has one.
Mhm.
And to just believe in yourself, you know, I had a lot of people in my corner as a child rooting for me, but that still like, you know, didn't really still made me not want to display. I don't know. But being in Humboldt, which is like a super huge art community, and working at a local art store and just being surrounded by other artists, I think kind of brought that out. And I think I got to a point where it's like, I'm making all this art and yeah, it's for me, but I do want to share it with other people because why not? Um, Not to toot my own horn, but I think I'm very talented and I like being inspired. And I hope that I can inspire other people too to just be themselves and embrace everything about themselves. So that's probably what I would say.
Please toot your own horn because I think that your work elevated the whole show by being in it,
me
and any
too.
space that it would elevate that space. I also, you just have so much background information for all your pieces too, like life stuff that's really interesting. Hearing you have like an extended talk about your work at some point, I think would be really enriching for anybody that listened.
Well, yeah, I might be open to doing that in the future. The older I get and the more comfortable I get with myself, it makes it easier to do. And I'm like at a place where I feel very confident about sharing my feelings with people, whether it be verbal or visual. And so I'm definitely glad to be a part of this. Thank you guys for like putting this on. I did drive past a couple days ago and saw the art, and everything looks so good. There's so many talented pieces in there, and it's really cool to be a part of something because I work in the art community basically, and I see all sorts of amazing art all the time, and it's very inspiring actually. So
Yeah, this is great. Corey, any final things you want to let the folks know that are watching? And yeah, I don't know, anything you want to say to the people that are tuning in? We're definitely going to share this for later too.
Go check out the 424 gallery, support outer space, support your local community artists, and support yourself.
Yeah.
All right.
Thank you so much, Corey. I am always ecstatic to go by the gallery ever since we set it up that you did this, because I feel like every piece really makes this whole show as powerful as it is. So keep driving by, keep telling people about it, everybody. Taylor,
Oh, I've
do you
been
have any
telling so
final
many
thoughts?
people about it. I've even have followed some of the artists from your
Me
guys'
too.
post just to check out their artwork because there's just so many talented people in such a small area. It's actually really cool.
That's cool. I really wish that there had been an opportunity for everyone to meet. I also noticed that there was like this unintentional color palette that happened between your work and then like two other people's. There were like a lot of them have like oranges and hot pinks and stuff. Did you notice that?
I did.
Yeah.
And I love it. I think it all like flows very well, and it's cool to see all the different kinds of art, and you guys did a good job putting it together, and
Thank you for that. Cool. So we're getting towards the end of the hour here. I think we've actually gone over. I think we have another video to share. Any final thoughts you have to share, Taylor?
No, thanks for having me.
Of course, yeah. We'd like to have, I would definitely love to have any of the artists back on, or you if you have a project that you're working on, Taylor, because that's what this platform is all about. The more I'm quiet, the happier I am. I'm here every Sunday, usually, so you'll get to hear me keep going on and on. But if you know somebody that's got something that you want them to share, push them a little, right? Sometimes that's all we need. But also let people have their space. It's a tricky dance, but we'll make it through it. So this has been by far one of my favorite variety hours in not such a long time, actually. I had a really good time here. So what we're gonna do next is we're also gonna remind you a little bit more about the Zero to Fierce Fest here, and then I think we have a video to play you out for the hour. Thank you everyone for joining us. We have some more stuff coming up, but here we go. Whenever you're ready, Sean. This might be the last song. It's called They Don't Stop, So We Don't Stop. You heard me say it earlier. Antes, ellos no dejan de joder, entonces nosotros tampoco. We'll keep it up, right? That's the thing about people power. We keep coming back. We keep fighting for our rights. We keep doing what we must for each other.
the wind.